What's good, everybody? It's your boy Boston MMA Wisdom coming here with the UFC 225 fight predictions. First of all, I want to say that this card is stacked from the very, very bottom all the way to the very top, from the early prelims to the main event. Personally, I'm only going to give my predictions on six fights that I'm very, very intrigued for. And I'm going to go ahead and start off with Jose Benavidez versus Sergio Pettis. Now, this is a very, very intriguing fight. They're both very, very good fighters, top 5 fighters in their division. Jose Benavidez, I feel, is a lot more stronger, physical, tenacious fighter. Comes from the Team Alpha Male team. Them guys are very, very good when it comes to wrestling. Their stand-up are pretty good. Jose Benavidez has a hell of a guillotine. We've seen him do it where he cranks his whole body on it and just stops guys, put guys, just breaks their will. His stand-up is pretty good too. I want to say, as far as it's not as crisp, it's not as clean as a Sergio Pettis. Sergio Pettis, him and his brother Anthony Pettis, they come from a more of a karate, taekwondo stand-up, as far as background. His stand-up is pretty good. I'm not going to say that I truly believe Sergio Pettis has that one-punch knockout power to be able to stop him. I mean, he didn't make anything can happen. The right shot could stop anybody. But I'm going to say I don't foresee, as far as Sergio Pettis stopping Jose Benavidez with, a stand-up shot. Yes, we have seen it happen with Demetrious Johnson, but Demetrious Johnson is a whole nother beast. But I'm going to go ahead and say that I do feel that as far as if it goes to the ground, I do see actually Jose Benavidez taking him down. If it goes to the ground, I do believe that he will, as far as impose his will on Sergio Pettis. I don't see Sergio Pettis really stopping the takedown. I do see Jose Benavidez taking him down. As far as ground and pound, I don't know if he's going to submit him like he did with that great guillotine, like he did to other guys. As far as Sergio Pettis and his brother Anthony Pettis, they do have a very, very good ground game. They're both black belts. We've seen his brother Anthony Pettis submit some of the best fighters in the world. Yes, it's not Anthony fighting; it is Sergio. I'm going to go ahead and go off and say that I feel that Jose Benavidez will stop him in the second round, ground and pound. But it won't surprise me if Sergio Pettis wins it. If he can keep it on the feet and try to get to a stand-up fight, I mean, he cannot point Jose Benavidez, but I don't see Jose Benavidez just standing there on the out, standing there and just exchanging with him and, fighting at range. He's not that kind of fighter. He's more of a close, more of a gritty, in-your-face kind of fighter, and he is a shorter fighter. You know what I mean? So I'm going to go ahead and go off with Jose Benavidez. I'm going to go with second round stoppage. My next fight prediction is for Holly Holm versus Megan Anderson. Now, this is a very intriguing fight as well. We don't know much about Megan Anderson. She is coming from Australia. She's a big girl, very, very strong, very powerful girl, very physical. I've seen some fights of hers, but we all know that fighting the UFC is different. Holly Holm, on the other hand, she is a fighter that has been through it all. She's came from boxing. She transitioned very well to start to learn how to use her legs. From transitioning from boxing to MMA, it is hard. You have to use a lot of different techniques. Still similar fundamentals, but you have to use a lot of different techniques. But she did transition well. She was able to defeat Ronda Rousey. She was able to, as far as fight against good fighters and look good. Some fights she didn't look too good in. She's had her ups and downs, but she is a very, very good fighter. And I respect her, have the utmost respect for her whenever she fought Cyborg. Cyborg, we all know, is a beast. But if I'm going to go ahead and pick someone on this fight, I'm going to have to go with Holly Holmes. I know more of her. I've seen more of her. As far as if anybody looks at Megan Anderson, you're going to think that she would win. She's a very big girl. She looks very strong. She's young. She's hungry. I'm excited for her future. I do think if she's, keeps on and gives it all, I do believe that she will be the future. But I'm going to go ahead and go with Holly Holm. And all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead here and give my fight prediction for the co-main event for UFC 225 involving Rafael dos Anjos versus Colby Covington. Now, this is a fight that ever since it got announced, I cannot wait to watch this fight. There's beef going on between both guys, after what Colby Covington said about Brazil after beating Damian Maia. Rafael dos Anjos being Brazilian, I'm sure he did not like that. I'm sure he didn't take that lightly. And I'm sure he's a very prideful man. Most Brazilian people are, anybody from any country, you get defensive. There's stuff you say, there's stuff you don't say. There's ways to promote a fight. Personally, I don't think that was the best way to go about it. But, hey, everybody does what they does. I can't knock nobody. You do what you do, I do what I do. But I'm going to go ahead and say, everybody, that this fight It's very, very intriguing because of the fact that you have Dos Anjos. He did go up to 170. He is fighting a taller, bigger man in Colby Covington. Colby Covington is his background is wrestling, so he does have a very, very good as far as wrestling game. Excuse me. I don't think that his stand-up is as good as Rafael Dos Anjos. We've seen him fighting versus Damian Maia. He looked a little sloppy when he was throwing. He was throwing kind of just like was like winging his hands. So his stand-up is definitely not as good as Rafael Dos Anjos. He does have good takedowns. You know what I mean? As far as with ground game and control, but can he keep Dos Anjos there? That's another thing. Rafael Dos Anjos, ever since he came up to from 155 to 170, he's looked like a complete beast. There are some fighters, there's a lot of fighters out there that they just can't make the weight anymore. The best thing for them is to go up in weight. Rafael Dos Anjos, to me, looks like one of them guys. He's just looked amazing. We all know Robbie Lawler. Robbie Lawler is a beast. He's an animal. He's been there with all the best of the best, and he's hung in there, and he went in there 5 hard rounds with Rafael Dos Anjos. Rafael Dos Anjos just completely dominated that fight. I mean, he looked very good, and I just think he's getting better. I think now he found himself, you know, just like Anthony Rumble Johnson did, just like Calvin Gastelum did, just like Robert Whittaker, which is our main event fighter. I think that's something that Rafael Dos Anjos needed. That being said, as far as he is a smaller guy, not much smaller. Colby Covington, I think, is about an inch or two taller than him. I want to say about 2 to 3 inches taller than him. But as far as we all know, size don't matter. I'm going to go ahead and go off the rip and say that I have Rafael Dos Anjos in this fight. I think he is going to break Colby Covington. I think Colby Covington is going to try to take him down, try to use his just American wrestling on him, which you're fighting a guy who's very, very well-rounded. Very, very well-rounded. And his jiu-jitsu is good. And he's a lot more faster. I think he's a lot more quicker. I think his hands are better. As far as if it was just a straight wrestling match, I still think Colby Covington would have issues with him, with even winning him in that. As far as me personally, I really do have Dos Anjos not just dominating, but stopping him. I believe it won't go past 3 rounds. The most 2 to 3 rounds. I don't see it going past 3 rounds. I see Rafael Dos Anjos stopping him within 3 rounds. Could possibly happen even earlier. He's just his speed, his well-rounded game. He can fight. The way he changes levels from low to high. He's so good. And he knows now how to get in and out. He's a lot more better now. Now that I see him training with Jason Carrillo and all them guys there at RCVA, he's definitely improved his stand-up. He's very good now. He's not just staying there. He learned from his losses. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Rafael Dos Anjos by stoppage. All right, and finally, guys, here's my UFC 225 main event fight prediction between the UFC middleweight champion, Robert Whittaker, versus Yoel Romero. Now, this fight is a rematch for the ages, guys. The first fight was a phenomenal fight. Both guys showed their skill, their will, their guts. These guys went at it for 5 hard rounds. Now, in the very, very first round, Yoel Romero did hurt the leg of Robert Whittaker with those oblique kicks, the same kicks that John Jones used. And things just they hit you in the side of your leg, and damage your knee. They could damage ACLs, MCLs, anything that's in that area. It can be damaged. And he went in there, hyperextended that knee, that leg, and he damaged Robert Whittaker in the very, very first round. Now, that did slow down the mobility of Robert Whittaker for the rest of the fight. But I do give Robert Whittaker so much props for staying in there and fighting the rest of the fight with a hurt leg. Now, Yoel Romero, just a very, very good, strong fighter, has a background in the Cuban Olympic wrestling. I think he's a silver medalist, if I'm not mistaken. Silver medalist, great, great wrestling, but his stand-up has improved as well. Now, his last fight with Robert Whittaker was very, very good as far as with him trying to impose his will, but I feel that in his last fight, he blew his gas tank. The first 3 rounds, I think he tried too hard to take him down, keep him down, try to make it as far as a ground and pound, but Robert Whittaker was not happening. Even with a hurt leg, he was able to get up, he was able to move around, he was able to use his footwork, get in and out on Yoel Romero, and as far as clip Romero. And there's the times that he even hurt Yoel Romero. Yoel Romero was a very, very strong, tenacious guy. He's a guy that if you blink, if you give him 1 second, he would take advantage. That's the kind of man he is. He's very explosive. He's waiting for you to do any little mistake and just capitalize. If you do remember whenever he fought with, as far as Yoel Romero, whenever he fought with Chris Weidman was coming in with them takedowns. He wanted to make it a ground fight. He wanted to take him down. He started seeing them. He measured them. He studied them. He was able to see the takedown from Chris Weidman, the attempt takedown. He was able to see that, register that, and all travel from his eyes to his brain to send a signal to move that fast, to be able to react, to jump and throw a knee kick. I mean, that's just his reflexes, his reading. It's just impeccable. The guy's so explosive. He's a scary human being. And then he's 41 years old. I mean, he's a physical specimen. I'm a huge fan of both fighters. Robert Whittaker, the stuff that he's done, the people he's beat, and the way he did it, and him coming up. He's another guy who's an example of going up in weight because you're cutting too much weight. He's done great at 185. He's the champion now. I mean, how much better can he get? This is a very, very intriguing fight, guys. It's really, really hard for me to pick because me personally, I have two things that I'm going with right now. I'm going to go with how is Whittaker going to be now that he has two good legs? He's coming off an injury from his leg. He is supposedly recovered. He is good now. He's ready to fight. So now he's going to have two legs. Now we have Yoel Romero. I feel he's learned, and he's even said in his interview, he's learned from his past fights. He can't just go and just bull rush, just go, just give it 100%. He's got to be patient. You got to be poised. So we're going to have two guys that are coming in this different. We have Robert Whittaker with the better footwork because he's going to have two legs. How's he going to do? A lot better, probably. Then we have Yoel Romero. He's not going to be as explosive at the beginning, going to use his gas tank more wisely, save it for the later rounds. How is that going to happen? So this really, really is a chess match. But if I have to go with someone, not that I do not like Robert Whittaker because I'm a humongous fan with him, but this with Yoel Romero, with him being so calm, so poised sometimes, and then just exploding out of nowhere, that's what gets me. And that's what he did with Luke Rockhold. I think he could do that to anybody in the world. He's done it to Chris Weidman. He did it to Luke Rockhold. He's done it to a lot of fighters. He's just, with one punch, what he did to Lyoto Machida, I mean, he's a very, very strong physical fighter. Now, if it goes down the stretch and it turns into a stand-up match, I'm going to give it to Whittaker. But I don't personally think it's going to go that way. I'm going to go ahead and go on the limb and say that I think Yoel Romero stops him within the second and third round. All right, guys, those are my fight predictions. Everyone, if you like my fight predictions, if you like my channel, please subscribe, everyone. Please like my videos. Leave your comments. Hate, comment, subscribe. I am open to seeing anybody's feedback. I want to thank everybody for listening to my channel. This is my new channel. I love this. Thank you, everybody. Take care. God bless. And I'll be making my post-fight analysis on the fights as well, on all the fights that I just gave the fight predictions for. So once again, everybody, thank you for listening to my video. Boss MMA Wisdom, coming here, keeping it real. God bless everybody.